Decades, Loretta McElhinney has been spending about 100 days each year out on Colorado's 14ers.
Now, she's not sightseeing or simply hiking. She's actually realigning and designing trails. She designed, in fact, almost every official and sustainable 14er trail across the state, with the exception of Barr and the Keyhole trails.
She is Colorado's first and only 14ers program manager. Our John McMichael met her on the Devil's Playground trail reroute.
You know, you don't often find an office that is as nice as your office.
Yeah, you should see the view from my break room.
How many 14er trails, official 14er trails and not just social trails, how many like actual 14er trails existed before you started designing them?
2.
That's insane. And there's how many now?
I think there's 54 total. It's been a great career.
This
I'm assuming it's this guy.
is Loretta.
Yeah.
And for 3 decades, she's been working to make Colorado's highest peaks hikeable.
Let me look up here. I actually do the planning and design work on the Colorado 14ers, the trails that approach the Colorado 14ers. And then I go into partnership with nonprofit organizations, youth corps, stewardship organizations throughout Colorado to actually perform the implementation of those projects.
So 1992, first trail, which mountain?
Mount Albert.
Mount Albert.
Yeah.
I can tell that you didn't want to say it.
I do not like that trail.
But it was only her first trail.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any training.
And at the time, she'd only had 3 years of trail crew experience working as a seasonal employee for the Forest Service. So this really wasn't in her toolbox yet.
Another year, the boss sent me out. I was wilderness rangering, and she said, go out there and inventory areas that have resource damage, where we're losing a lot of soils and vegetation, and I found the 14ers.
Where there were trails in active use, but they were social trails, just made by people's habits.
Most of those trails are not in a proper location. A lot of the times they're going straight up the fall line of the mountain, and water wants to come straight down that fall line.
Which makes huge erosion gullies, and when that happens, people move to the sides of the trail.
It gets wider and wider and wider, and deeper and deeper and deeper.
So she rounded up the powers that be, stewardship boards, government agencies, groups like that.
I did a presentation to them and said, look what I'm finding. We gotta do something.
And they did. More research was done by more people on more mountains, leading to new stewardship programs, groups, and processes, and a career for this mountaineer.
Now we have a 5-year planning process to get any trail in place.
Year 1 is figuring out how the mountain is being used.
We spend a lot of time talking with the district folks. Then we go out and actually watch what are people doing.
Year 2 is boots on the
And
ground.
that is where I scour a mountain. Yeah, right through here.
Hunting down and charting microclimates, ecosystems, and geostructures
We're dropping down to 13%
to
grade.
find
So that's your steep section.
sustainable routes.
And then the 3rd year, we bring all the ologists in.
Ologists being specialists who determine environmental impact and necessary adjustments.
And then it gets a little tedious because we drag 100-foot tape. Let's check on that next one. We stake every 100 foot, we drag that tape, we write foot by foot construction notes.
Which gets handed off to field crews.
10933 to 73. And once we're in agreement, then they're out here working.
And that's the process, carried out over countless climbs.
How many miles have you hiked over the course of your career designing all these trails?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot. I would have no idea. You know, honestly, I don't know even how many 14ers I've actually been to the summit on because I don't track that. Most of the time I'm going to where the resource damage ends, and I'm like 10 feet from the summit, and I'm like, okay, we're going down. And they're like, wait a minute, you're not going to go to the actual summit? No. This whole trail is going to be really awesome.
Because for her, it's about seeing the beauty of how life has adapted to the mountain, adapted to elevation.
Why wouldn't you love it? To see those things that are thriving in that area.
There's a really cool woodpecker up here that's not scared of anything.
Must be some good bugs in there. So for me, being in the Alpine is enough.
And something she's worked her whole life through trail work and educating others to protect.
No one wants to do damage on their public lands, but people don't know how fragile that area is. And so to me, that's huge. If we can just let people know that.
And each year it becomes more important, because over time more and more people have been drawn here, drawn to these mountains.
I think a lot of the use has increased because the word has gotten out that Colorado has all these very accomplishable Everests. It's the ease of getting to meet a goal. And a lot of people have that goal of climbing a 14er. And is it really because we've done the work, or is it because the mountain is there?
And do you do your job because you have a goal, or do you do it because the mountain is there?
I do it because the mountain is there.
In Colorado Springs and out on the trail, I'm John McMichael, News 5.